I am one Windows-only utility away from having this entire channel run on open source software and Linux operating systems. And today, we're going to see if Winboat can push me over the finish line and eliminate my need to maintain a Windows box at all. Can Winboat run this obscure, weird little Canon camera utility? Stick around and find out. Welcome to E-Waysted. Hello everyone and welcome to E-Waysted, a YouTube channel dedicated to finding new life and purpose for old computers and technology. My name is Tim, and today we're covering a topic I really didn't expect to be covering. Originally I thought this was going to be a video on something called Tiny 11, but we're going to take a look at that maybe next week or so instead. Today though, we're going to be looking at a program I just found out about called Winboat. Now, Winboat is a Linux program that allows you to run Windows-only software inside your Linux machine. It does this using kind of a combination of a Windows virtual machine, a Docker container, and free RDP. This sounds complicated, and it probably is. My understanding of how it all works is a little on the rudimentary side, so if you want a deep dive, maybe for extra credit, go look this one up. What's important to me, though, is that it sounds like this might be my solution to run that one last Windows-only utility I need for this channel inside of Linux. Now, this utility revolves around the camera that I use. The camera that I use for almost all of the video on this channel, and the one I am standing in front of right now, is a Canon C100. Total beast of a camera, way overkill for what I do here, but I already owned it, and it uses all of my Canon lenses, so why not put it to good use? Now, this is a great camera, I love it, but it has maybe a little bit of a quirky thing going on. If I stand in front of this camera and I yammer on for, let's say, 20-30 minutes or so, as I might be like to do once in a while, I don't end up with one video file. What I end up with is 3 or 4 video files, all about 2 gigs in size. So if you look at the card, I have files 1, 2, 3, and 4 for that entire clip. Now, let's say I decide the part of the video that I want to use is on a combination of files 2 and 3. So I pull those 2 files over to my editor, I piece them together, and then I hit playback to see what I've got. And what I'll find is that there will be a gap between that file 2 and file 3, usually of about a second or so. So fairly sizable and kind of jarring. Not ideal for when you're trying to make a video. Now, what I found out when I researched this in Google is that there was a utility that shipped with these cameras new on a CD-ROM. And that utility would basically read the information on your card. It would see those 4 files and recognize them as being one big clip. So when it pulled them over from the card to your machine, you would have one video file. It would combine them all. And that gap between the files magically disappears. I don't know. I think Canon maybe was leveraging some glitch in the matrix or something to make this all work. But whatever it is, that utility is super important for keeping this channel going, and something I desperately need. So when I saw this thing about Winboat, I thought, you know, maybe this will work, because it has something that I never got working with Proton or Wine or any other kind of Windows compatibility layer, and that's pass-through from the USB. If I am going to get this thing to work, it needs to read the information on the card. And USB pass-through, while it is experimental on Winboat, is still way better than the solutions I was, hammering my head against with Wine and Proton. So we're going to give this a try. And the machine we're going to be using is the old Silverdell, still running Bazzite Linux from our first episode. Now, this may or may not be a good idea. I don't know. The problem with Bazzite is that we're kind of getting away from the more mainstream distributions. So the command lines aren't anything I'm familiar with. So this may or may not be the best of ideas, but we'll give it a shot. Let's go ahead and get started on this and see how far we can get. And hopefully by the end of it, I'll have one less reason to have Windows around. Now, before you install Winboat on your machine, you have to have a couple of prerequisites already installed. You need to have Docker, you need to have Docker Compose version 2 or later, and you need to have FreeRDP installed. Now, this is kind of where I started to run into problems with Bazzite. Bazzite already has sort of its own kind of Docker-like components running, and from what I read, Docker and those components will conflict and get in the way of updates and other things. So I decided to abandon Bazzite for now, at least for this project, which is too bad because it would have been super cool to have a machine basically dedicated to all of my former Windows stuff. I could game on it, I could, do a Windows utility things, but not today. Support is coming from what I understand, and I would imagine with the speed at which Winboat is developing, which is very rapidly, this could happen sooner than later. But for today, we're going to jump ship and go on to Fedora. I know Fedora kind of enough to be dangerous, so we're going to go with that. Now, I have already installed Docker. I have already installed Docker Compose v2. I think it was 2.4 something, and FreeRDP. I have also put myself into the Docker user group so I don't have to type sudo every time I want to run Docker. That could be advantageous. So now all we need to do is, in theory, run Winboat. So let's go ahead. We're going to right-click this, and we're going to try to open it with software install, and hopefully things don't blow up. Let's see. Let's go ahead and install. Let's put in my password. My super secure E-Waysted 1 password. 1 because alphanumeric is more secure. And it looks like it's doing its thing. Loading app details. Let's open it. Welcome to Winboat. Okay, so let's go ahead and say next. All right, and you can see the green checks mean that we have met all of the requirements. So that's really good. This machine can easily handle 4 gigs. It can handle the threads. We got enough space on the hard drive. And Docker, FreeRDP, and everything seems to be installed, ready to go. That's a good sign. Let's go ahead and hit next. All right, now wants to know our install location. This is something I always struggle with Linux. Where the hell is it supposed to go? But we're going to go ahead and put it, your install folder. We're going to go ahead and put it, I'm going to go ahead and put it at home. And I know someone in the Linux world is screaming, no, it doesn't go there. You're probably right, but I don't know where it goes. So cut me some slack, man. I'm a noob. Let's make a folder, and we're going to call this Winboat. Create. And we're going to select it. It's a valid install folder. That's an improvement. Let's go ahead and say yes. Configure Windows, and we're going to select the ISO that is in the downloads that I've already got. And let's hit next. We're going to use our super secure password again. All right. We're going to say next. I think we can probably get by with, you know what, we'll give it 3 cores, and we will give it, we'll give it 16 gigs of RAM. And we will give it, we'll give it 96 gigs. Why not? I am going to enable home folder sharing. Oh boy. Let's get it done. Okay, this is going to take a while from my understanding because this really is installing Windows. But we can watch it in our browser. So let's pull that up. Oh, still not able to go. I think we're a little early in the process. But we'll come back to this. And I am going to pause things right here. And I may, well, I'm not going to grab a cup of coffee because I'm old and, you know, it's past noon. So I'm going to do something. Okay, installation has finished, and I came back to a Windows desktop running on my Linux machine. That was pretty cool, but I had to do some tinkering with the program in order to get that USB pass-through to work. It's built into the newer versions, so I didn't have to do any editing of any crazy config files or anything like that. But I did have to restart the VM. So let's go ahead. Let's fire up Winboat again here. Winboat. Okay, Winboat is up and running, and let's go to apps. One of your options is Windows Desktop, Windows Explorer, all kinds of different ways to get into this thing. Let's try Windows Explorer. Let's see what that brings up. It's thinking. This little machine is chugging pretty hard. The fans are going pretty good. I'm pretty sure you can hear it. My microphone is actually right there, so yeah. Fans are running pretty good right now. Please? All right, a little slow, but you can see after I turned on the experimental features and rebooted, USB support came up right away. And lo and behold, look what we got. We have USB. Now, the kicker, and I may have to switch cameras in order to try this out, or, oh, you know what, I'll switch memory cards. But I want to see if I can get that app running. Now, let's go back here. I'm going to close this out. I'm going to go to the Windows desktop. Okay, so I went ahead and I installed the Canon camera utility off camera. Really, there is not much to see here, folks. It's just like installing an app in Windows, except you're doing it on the Windows desktop through the virtual machine. Other than that, it is exactly the same. You've done it before. The one thing that I will need to go in and get, though, is the file location for the program. So let me grab this here real quick. There we go. Let's get you. And I'll come back here. We're going to add custom, and I will go ahead and add the path here, or part of it. We're going to call this Canon utility, if I could spell. And I've got everything except the app name. So let's go back here real quick. Copy this guy, add it to the end, and you'll see that there is an error because it already exists. I've already made the shortcut for this once, and it won't let me do it again. That's fine. I just wanted to go through this so you know what you're up against. This is really simple, but just a quick step to maybe make your life a little easier. Let me get out of that, and let's go ahead and click on Data Import Utility. Spoiler alert, I know it works because the first time that you run something in Winboat, it's going to be dead slow, or at least in my case. I mean, keep in mind, this is 8-year-old hardware we're working with here, and I'm throwing half of the resources the machine has at this VM. So, I mean, well, we are called E-Waysted, right? You know, we got to have old hardware. Your mileage may vary. If you've got a more modern machine, you're probably going to have better luck than I am. But the first time you click on one of these shortcuts under app, You have to remember it is just that. It is a shortcut. And the first time you click on it, it's going to create the Docker container and the environment and all of that stuff that it's going to run in. So there is some lag. Now, I believe after I reboot, I will come back and have this lag again. But after you've done it in your session, it's not a problem. And again, your mileage may vary. 8-year-old hardware, only 4 cores thrown at this thing, and 24 megs of RAM. So, and we all know Windows is a pig. This is just a little worse. But let's go ahead and fire up the data import utility. And there it is. Cool. Now, let's see if we can get data to read off at this. I don't know. Let's see. We want to do card reader. Let's import all the clips and the scenes. This is the card I've taken out of the camera. I'm running off of a different one now, obviously. Let's put you in the card reader. And you can see the destination is videos data import utilities, so we should know pretty quickly here. And let's go ahead and hit import. It's reading files. How cool is that? My Windows only utility is running in a Linux box. It's still running on Windows, but you know what? We're getting there. Baby steps. You know, for some things, look, let's face it, it's a Windows world. And you're always going to find these stupid little programs that are Windows only. This might be a great solution for a lot of those. I mean, this is one of the reasons I chose this program is because it is so far off of the beaten path. You know, this is about as obscure a utility as it gets. This is not available on the Canon website anymore. You know, to have it run in this in Winbox environment or Winboat environment, piece of cake. It didn't even really shrug. No problems. But I've got one other thing we're going to throw at it. While it is doing this, we'll talk a little bit about it. This is a shortwave radio, and it is all computer controlled. And again, this is kind of off of the beaten path. This isn't exactly mainstream software that we're talking about here. You can control it with Linux programs. There are some that do it, but the one that I really like is called SDR Console. And it is Windows only. There is no open source variant. So I figured let's give this guy a try. I've already got the software installed, and the device is in the USB configuration already. We'll just pop over there and take a look real quick. Let's go to configuration, and we'll just show you here in the USB pass-through. Yeah, it's right there. That is the FDMS2. That's this guy right here. So let's go back to apps. And let's go to SDR Console. Here we go. Again, I've already installed it. It's just like doing it in Windows, no big deal. Let's fire it up, see what happens. We're running 2 of these now, so the fans are going to spin up. It may not like this. Okay, here we go. Let's hit start. Works. 11780 was Brazil, by the way, in case you were wondering. No sound at the moment. I'm not sure why that is. That's all right. Perfect. We're 2 for 2 with this. How awesome is that? Folks, that is going to wrap up our quick shakedown cruise of Winboat. And I said it before, I'll say it now, I'm super impressed with this software. I threw a piece of Canon abandonware and a shortwave radio utility that only a nerd like me would love, both using the USB pass-through, which is experimental, and it handled them with ease. So kudos to everybody over there at Winboat. I can't wait to see where you're going to take this one next. Thanks for doing this. If you enjoyed any of this content, do me a favor and hit the like button. It would really help us out a lot. And also, if you're already running Winboat, do me a favor and drop a comment with your experiences with the program. I am kind of curious to know whether or not some of the delays and some of the lag I experienced were just due to a resource-starved environment, or whether there's just a little bit more going on with Docker than I know. But again, your comments and feedback would be appreciated by me and the community as well. Thanks for doing that. Again, next week's episode is going to be about Tiny 11. So if you're interested in that, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. I try to release videos every Friday. We'll see if I can maintain that. But for now, hit the subscribe button, and that way you'll never miss when a video drops. That is going to do it, though, for this episode of E-Waysted. I appreciate you tuning in. And remember, keep teaching those old dogs new tricks. We'll see you next week.